Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Temple Emanu-El's Friday night service. I'm Rabbi Andy Kahn, joined on the bima by Rabbi Amy Ehrlich and student cantor Sarah Anderson. We're so pleased you've chosen to join us this evening for this very special holiday weekend. Not always do we get a Shabbat that goes directly into Passover. So I'd like to take a moment to think about what that really means. Normally, the idea of Passover is going from struggle to freedom. But this year, our Passover is coming out of a cessation of work, which to me means that our Passover starts a little bit early. Let's tonight begin thinking about what Passover is truly about for us, how we can seek liberation at this time and this place, and what our Passover celebration in a couple of days will guide us towards in the future. Please join me in taking a few breaths to ground yourself in these questions to start off our Shabbat together. Shabbat Shalom. Continue on page 23 in our Siddur. If you do not yet have it, it is available on our website at emmanuelnyc.org/broadcast. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Page 37. The synagogue is the sanctuary of Israel. Born out of our longing to feel God's nearness, it has been to the Jewish people throughout our wanderings a visible token of the presence of God in our people's midst. Its beauty is the beauty of holiness. Steadfast, it has stood as the champion of justice, mercy, and peace. Its truths are true for all people. Its love is a love for all people. Its God is the God of all people. As it has been said, "My house shall be a house of prayer for all people." Let all the family of Israel, all who hunger for righteousness, all who seek the eternal, find God here, and here find life. Continue with the Baruch Hu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, u'vitfunah mishanei itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'misader et hakochavim, b'mishmarotehem, barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom, u'mevi layla, u'ma'avdil ben yom u'vein layla, Adonai Tzavaot Shemo, El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Ma'ariv Aravim. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Be our inspiration in the tasks that confront us, both in seasons of joy and times of adversity. Send forth your light and your truth to lead us. When doubt and confusion assail us, help us remain constant in our devotion to you. Deepen our loyalty to the sacred obligations which rest upon us. May our hearts never turn away from that covenant, and let our lives ever testify to our faith in you. Read first in Hebrew, then in English. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one.
Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
What does it mean to be a Jew? You shall be holy. In the face of the many, to stand for the one. In the presence of fragments, to make them whole. What does it mean to be a Jew? You shall be a holy people, to hold fast to our vision of truth, to retain our faith in tomorrow. Holy in our past is the memory of redemption from Egyptian bondage. Holy in our day is the hope of a redemption we still await. Twice holy in our past are those who gave their lives to hallow this world. Holy is the Jew, today and tomorrow, who bears witness to the goodness of life. And holy are those whose lives are songs in freedom's cause. As the Sabbath descends, it enfolds us in its mantle of peace. It brings to us the precious gift of time, time to embrace family and friends, to reflect more deeply on the meaning and purpose of our lives, and to worship in the beauty of wholeness. May every Shabbat be for us a sanctuary of love and devotion, bringing contentment to our hearts, happiness to our homes, and blessings to our people.
Shabbat. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor veHanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, Umevii Geula livnei bneihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch Ata Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah.
Infinite is your power, O God. Great is your gift of life. In loving kindness, you sustain the world. Through the endless flow of your blessings, you preserve all of creation. You uphold the falling and heal the sick, free the captive, and keep faith with your people in death as in life. Who is like you, author of life and death? We praise you, God, the source of eternal life. God of ages past and future, God of this day, as you are with our ancestors, be with us as well. As you strengthen them, strengthen us. As you were their guide, be ours as well. Grant that we too may be bearers of your teaching, teachers of your truth. Then our tradition shall endure, and our people Israel will live, from mother and father to daughter and son, and all who follow them. One generation comes, one generation passes. Each of us is a link in the endless chain of our heritage. Students of the Torah become teachers. Our faith and our ideals endure. Our people and our values live on. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country, that it may always be a stronghold of peace and its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among the inhabitants of all lands. May the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Blessed is the eternal God, the source of peace. We turn our thoughts now to those most in need of peace, those suffering and seeking healing. In particular, we think of the communities in Boulder and Atlanta still reeling from gun violence in recent days. And we also open our hearts to those in the American South suffering under these destructive storms. I'd invite you, if there's anyone you're thinking of this evening who's in particular need of healing, to hold their name in your heart or share them aloud wherever you may be. Continue with the Misha Berach on page 78.
Sarah Rivka ויעקב, מי שפרח אמותינו, שרה רבקה לאה ורחל. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer.
Take a moment for silent prayer.
If you want to learn the story of our people's experience, look no further than the Haggadah. It's an enduring document which sets out our values and responsibilities, taking into account the wisdom and challenges of the moment. And as we get ready to enjoy Passover in our homes and connect with dear ones far and wide through the blessing of technology, here is one such example in an updated framework of the 4 children. The wise person says, "I've got this. I'll handle the admin feature controls and chat rooms, and forward the cloud recording transcript after the call. To the wise person, you should offer all of the Zoom Pro optional add-on plans. The wicked person says, since I have an unlimited plan, I scheduled our Seder for 6 hours. As it says in the Haggadah, whoever prolongs the telling of the story, harei zeh shubach, they are praiseworthy. And to the wicked person you should say, had you been in charge, oi, we would still be in Egypt. The simple person says, hello, am I on? I can hear you, but I can't see you. To the simple person you should say, try the call-in number instead. And to the one who does not know how to mute and says, what? What's that? How should I know where you put the keys? I'm stuck on this Zoom call. To that one you should say, why should this night be different from all other nights? Tonight is Shabbat HaGadol, the great Sabbath when we prepare our hearts for the holiday, when we review the important points of Passover that we want to highlight to better re-engage with our people's enduring experience. And if that handy Zoom call doesn't say it all, well, there is still time to brush up on some of the skills that will make your Seder a delight, including knowing when to use that mute button. Because the celebration is so near, tomorrow being Erev Pesach, we might say that tonight is Erev Pesach, the night before the night of. I don't even know if that's an actual designation or something we just made up, but the words signal our anticipation. We just can't wait. The word Erev actually means the time leading up to something. It's a word which conveys transformation, not unlike the Israelites who stood on the shores of the parted sea, wondering what lay on the other side. And in that moment, they were on the verge of becoming a free people again, though their identity had yet to be fully formed. They were on the Erev of emerging from oppression to liberation. Every time I look at the Exodus story, I learn something I had overlooked earlier. As the Israelites are about to leave Egypt, the text notes that they are joined by a group that the Torah calls an Erev Rav, which is a curious expression. The only other place I had encountered it was in rabbinical school when my classmates and I were about to become rabbis. And I'm sure it was true for Rabbi Kahn as well. We were called Erev Rav, but that's not what's intended here. It turns out that here, Erev Rav is a motley band, translated as a mixed multitude, not entirely flattering. They were likely Egyptians who took advantage of the chaos of the moment and fled the country with the Israelites. And let's remember that when they chose to join in the Exodus, they chose freedom for themselves as well. A midrash explains what was happening in Egyptian society at the time. It notes that there were 3 groups of Egyptians. The first wanted to keep the Israelites as slaves. They were punished with the plagues. The second were what we would now call allies, those who supported the Israelites' efforts for liberation. They were the ones who gave the Israelites gold and silver and jewels as they prepared to leave. And the last group, the Erev Rav, identified with the Israelites and joined them. But rabbinic tradition doesn't see the Erev Rav so kindly. The Eitz Chaim commentary makes an association between the word Erev and the plague Arov, suggesting that these people were a major source of trouble in the desert. So when the desert community later clamored for water or whined for quail or even an idol to worship, tradition attributes the root of their trouble to that people, the mixed multitude who had joined in their search for liberation. And while it's easy to assign blame, isn't there something to admire here as well? The Plaut Torah commentary is more charitable. It notes that the mixed multitude escaped from their fate in Egypt and sought to better their lives. And consider this, even as the Erev Rav escaped from their oppression in Egypt and sought a better life, their disruptive effect on the fleeing Israelites was not without benefit. Their presence, indeed their challenge, was the impetus for change. Within every society, in every age, there exists a force that urges change. The Erev Rav helped to form our desert ancestors into people who would be ready to make their way to the promised land. And so their undercurrent of dissatisfaction with the status quo was actually a catalyst for our own evolution. More than a fragment of society, the Erev Rav exists as a metaphor within each of us as well, a transforming urge that isn't something foreign or exotic. It's part of us, just as the four children are different aspects of everyone's character. Tradition notes that this push toward transformation exists within us all in the form of the Yetzer Ra and Yetzer Tov, the evil inclination and the good inclination. Constantly grappling for expression, these two forces temper each other as one pushes for change and the other makes a play for constancy. The Midrash notes that without the evil spark as a goad, no one would ever engage in building a house or creating a family or feel pressed to leave a mark upon the world. It is this desire to push the boundaries, to create and establish oneself in ways that reconfigure the status quo, that brings renewal. As you read the Haggadah tomorrow, take note of the differences between Rabbi Tarfon and Rabbi Akiva. The tension between their views quietly reflects the same push and pull of stasis and change. Rabbi Akiva taught the Seder is to remind us of the future freedom we can hope to experience, whereas Rabbi Tarfon taught we should see ourselves in this moment as if we are free, embracing the liberty that resides within despite any external constraints. And isn't it true that we live with a foot in two worlds? Akiva's vision offered our ancestors hope throughout history as they grappled with intolerance and persecutions, with disappointment and dislocation. And though they might have felt powerless to change their circumstances, his vision of a messianic future was a balm for all the injustice experienced in the world. And Tarfon's assertion gave us license not to wait, to embrace our freedom, to celebrate what is good. His response aligns with the agitation within, the impatience with the status quo, and it's an uplifting response that we all need to hear. In his view, we have everything we need right now to experience liberation on our own. Our liberation comes this very night in our own homes and our own hearts. The Reformed prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah, includes a powerful reading reflecting the balance between what is and what could be, and the unrelenting need to press forward. It reads, "Standing on the parted shores, we still believe what we were taught ever before we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together." Joining hands. When I hear that, I now think of the mixed multitude who had the courage to join the Israelites in their quest for freedom and their impatience with the status quo. As the Israelites come to learn when they arrive at Sinai, freedom has a greater purpose than simply throwing off oppression. We are meant to use our liberty to bring nearer the world that Rabbi Akiva paints, undaunted by the Egypts through which we must pass. In building this nation, we have learned to mix bitter and sweet. As you rise from your Seder, allow yourself to be renewed by its vision and unsettled by impatience. And then turn to the world around us and think about how you want to respond to the many daunting issues that call upon us to use nothing less than our freedoms to address them. Will we respond like the simple one who will call it in, or like the wicked one who kicks the problems down the road, or like the one who simply puts problems on mute and turns away, or like the wise one who embraces knowledge and information and tries to respond to the best of their ability? B'chol dor vador, in every generation, we are to see ourselves as if we had left Egypt. May you and yours find sweetness in this journey. May it be filled with health and with loved ones, and an impatience that you carry into the world to help transform it. Ken yehi ratzon, may it be so.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים.
Page 129. Eternal God, we face the morrow with hope made stronger by the vision of your deliverance. A world where poverty and war are banished, where injustice and hate are gone. Teach us more and more to respond to the pain of others, to heed your call for justice, that we may bring nearer the day when all the world shall be one. On that day, the age-old dream shall come true. On that day, O God, you shall be one and your name shall be one.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Page 132. To open eyes when others close them, to hear when others do not wish to listen, to look when others turn away, to seek to understand when others give up, to rouse oneself when others accept, to continue the struggle even when one is not the strongest, to cry out when others keep silent. To be a Jew, it is that, it is first of all that, and further to live when others are gone, and to remember when others have forgotten. At this time of cherished memory, we call to our hearts and lovingly mention by name, dear congregants who have entered into the peace of life eternal. Peter Adelman, Harry Jacob Ain, Lydia Barkin Heller, Louis Bell, Agnes Lewis Benjamin, Eva Bermant, Henry Arnold Braulauer, Fanny Briskman, Max M. Briskman, James L. Buttonwieser, Jefferson Broderick Cohn, Ruth G. Cohn, Joseph H. Danoff, Otto Eckstein, Alfred Eisenprice, Eileen E. Finkel, Carl Glick, Victor P. Green, Daniel Greif, Nathan Heller, Peter Hess, Helen Joselle, Caroline Kaufer, Ralph Conheim, Mildred Roberts Kreitman, Nathan G. Krishock, Claire Lader Buchhalter, Dorianne Lazar, Meredith Leffler, Samuel Lefrak, Taylor Levin, Isidore Saul Levinson, Evelyn Eve Linwood, Fanny Litt, Michael Lynn, Bernard Mateless, Stephen Markelson, Patricia Martin, Julius Miller, Alice Narr, Martin Nathanson, Henry M. Newman, Andrew Patterson, John Portanova, Anna Rosen, Faye Rosenfeld, Bernice Sager-Lubarski, Janet Sapaden, Blanche Schwartz, Hannah Snepfangers, Jane Stein Feinerman, Elsa Ehrlich Waldhorn, Richard H. Warren, Aida Wiener, Richard Allen Winston. And to these we add the names of those who were victims of gun violence this past week in Boulder. Officer Eric Talley, Trelona Bart Kowiak, Suzanne Fountain, Terry Leiker, Kevin Mahoney, Lynn Murray, Ricky Olds, Denny Stong, Nevin Stanisic, Jody Waters. Let us take them into our hearts along with our own. If you have experienced a recent loss, we remember with you. And if you are marking a yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of a loved one, we remember with you as well. For all those who are grieving a loved one lost to COVID, we are with you in these dark days, and we will stand with you as you remember. We turn to recite the words of the Kaddish together on page 133. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, yomad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayedechol beit Yisrael ba'agalav v'zman kariv, v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mivorach le'olam la'almei almayah, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpoar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'riachud. La'ela min kol bir chasa v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata de'amiram bi'oma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all who are bereaved among us. Let us say together, Amen. Shabbat Shalom and welcome once again. Temple Emanu-El strives to be a house of prayer and study and connection for all people, and all who would gather with us in peace are most welcome. As our thoughts turn to Passover, you're most welcome to join us for a brief festival worship service before your Seder, Saturday evening at 5:15 and Sunday morning at 10:30. Sunday evening at 5:15, we invite you to pull up a chair and open the live stream link on our website to join our congregational Seder. No reservations are necessary. However, you'll have to bring your own afikomen prize. Our programs continue this week, and they include our support group for the Dorot generation, Thursday at 11. At the same time, young families will be meeting for outdoor music, and our What Matters discussion group will take place on Thursday at 1. We also invite you to join us for daily worship at 5:30. This week, it will be Monday through Thursday. For information on all of our events, please go to our website, emmanuelnyc.org. Before we turn to Kiddush on page 134, we wish you all a sweet Pesach filled with health and joy and connections to those you love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. Shabbat kodesho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'asei v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zeicher litziat Mitzrayim.
Our concluding song is Adon Olam on page 145.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra leid nasa v'chefetzo kol azay melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu hayam ve'hu hove ve'hu yeh b'tifara Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra leid nasa v'chefetzo kol azay melech shemo nikra וחי גואלי וצור חבלי ויצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא להינשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה בידו אפקיד רוחי והייתי שן ואהירה ואם רוחי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא יירא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא להינשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
May God bless you and keep you.
Amen. יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה.
May God's light shine upon you and fill you with courage and confidence.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
May you feel God's presence within you always, and so may you find peace.